Hello everybody and a warm welcome back to the Cockpit Drivers Championship. My name is Abby and we are live with another round and we're right here at the Belgium Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps and it is out round 4. We've had the first 3 rounds earlier. Unfortunately we had the last week's stream cut out, but hopefully this one should be as smooth as it can be. Hopefully the quality is going to be a little bit better as well. I've got just a bit of better internet maybe, but depends on if it wants to work or not. But let's get started and have a look at the details from the previous Grand Prix and results for overall in the championship. There's only 5 drivers, so that is interesting as we went for a 5 drivers 50% race, but as it stands, and Cap Reaper with that championship lead and having won 2 out of the last 3 rounds is interesting as well, and having finished on the podium every single race. The only driver who has done it this season to finish on the podium every single time. So as it stands, we're going to just watch out. We actually should have things. All right. We should have on, as we're going to just watch out with Reaper at 65 points, Joel at 48, followed by Okan on 39, followed by Amy at 25. Amy's done only a single race, and she's won that. And then 25 for her, 25 for Seb, 18 for Jelly, followed by Creford with 16, and Commander Rex as well. Then comes Ferruki on 10, with Clutch on 4 points. Just need to move, and there we go. Then we're going to move over to the Constructors' Championship, followed by 90 points with the Haas team. And then comes Racing Bulls with 87, 3 points separating the two teams. Alpine in 3rd place, just 26 points. Have got 2 cars this time out, so that could be interesting to see. Followed by Ferrari, 25 points, and 18 for Red Bull and McLaren with 16. There's only 5 drivers, 2 for Alpine and 1 for Red Bull, Haas, and RB. And it's a rain-soaked Spa. We do see a lot of rain around Spa most of the time. So just before we move on, we're going to see the race results from Silverstone and qualifying as well. It was Joel who qualified on pole, followed by Jelly, Okan, Creford, and Reaper was down in P5, but still managed to win the race in the vet. So that could get exciting moving forward and what not. As we're just going to watch out, I'd display capture, I think. This should have us, and with that, alright, I'm going to hope that... Alright, I'm not sure why it's showing the AI driver names, maybe because there's way too less drivers out here. We're going to have the pit lane on, of course. We need to have the fastest lap one on as well. Followed by, maybe not driver information, just need to have the race director one. Yeah, race director. Others I can always get them done from the shortcuts that we have got, of course. So these are just the important ones. And there we go then. Just moving forward, we're going to be looking at these things. Anybody, we will need track map. So let's get track map on here. Anybody on a flying lap? Of course, not right now. And that is interesting. Rain-soaked Spa and these reflections of course, 2026 cars. That is amazing as well. We're going to find all that out. So we're going to see who and what we've got. And there we go. We can see this now in this session, of course. Everybody on the full wet tyres apart from, let's say, Ferruki. And in fact, Joel. But let's see, Joel on intermediate tyres. It's, of course, going to be interesting to see as he's currently in the pits. So we'll only get an idea when he's out of the pits. And meanwhile, one man who is about to begin their flying laps, that should be Joel, I believe. And indeed, that's in fact going to be Creford, as it stands in that Alpine. The man who is quite down in the championship standings. But let's see how good and how fast will Creford be. Looking at this one so far in this qualifying session, over 14 minutes still remaining, just going up the Eau Rouge and ready on these full wet compound tyres. How fast are they going to be? How well will they be on the Camel Straight just towards the end of the middle of the first sector? Far away from the end of the first sector. 36.1 is that going to be? What about anybody else? That's going to be Ferruki, I think, on a flying up as well. Indeed, Ferruki it is. The next one over the line has went fastest. In fact, that's Jelly. So these different sort of drivers that we okay maybe need the game one in here. So there we go. Jelly at the moment fastest in the first sector. Creford in P3 has invalidated their lap time. So indeed that means Creford has invalidated their lap time. Ferruki just beginning with theirs. Meanwhile, Jelly currently the fastest in the first sector. Purple in the first sector, but how fast and how good will that be? Creford, of course, having invalidated their lap time so far. How good and exciting will all of that be? We're going to get an idea. I mean, well, Joel currently on an out lap, of course, while we're going to see Jelly go towards the end of that first sector. How well will that really be? At the moment, we're just going to see them still moving around just about towards the end of the middle sector. 132.885, so that is quite slow. Not slow, I'm not sure though, of course. We haven't got times on the board yet. We can only get an idea once we do have times on the board. Only then we can call on what we've got and what not on the track. As Ferruki at the moment, personal best in the first sector. That means Jelly has to be the fastest driver so far. And we're just going to watch out the Red Bull driver to go over the line. And up to the line. That's going to be 206.726 is going to be the fastest lap of the session so far, and that's going to be Jelly in this one so far. Meanwhile, we're going to watch out for our second driver. That is Ferruki, of course. He's far away from the end of this lap. What about the middle sector? 1.7 seconds down on Jelly out there. That could get exciting. 1.7 seconds down on Jelly. That's going to be an interesting idea of what we've got now. Of course, Joel's is going to be the next car over the line. Joel Flats, only then we can get an idea on how fast the man we're about to watch out. Meanwhile, Creford going over the line, at least in that first sector. He seems to be the fastest. There you go, Ferruki coming over the line over 2.7 seconds down and less than the time of our fastest driver, so that could get exciting. I'm just going to try and have the broadcast menu, and there we go, we have the broadcast menu, so that should be nothing but some nice little interesting things that we can have. 2.1 seconds for Ferruki to the fastest time of the session, of course, depending on interval as well. What about other drivers? We're going to be over the line, and that's going to be Creford, the next man, trying to make it over the line. Has went purple in the first two sectors. Creford has managed to go purple in both the first sectors. Remember, he invalidated his first lap. Is he going to be able to just keep it on track and have his lap still be counting? Weaving around, nearly lost the car, but still over the line. That's going to be Mark Creford. Up to the line. Yeah, remember, we only have 5 drivers in the session. Creford 204.673. That's going to be exciting, definitely, to see all of this. Excuse me, I'm just, excuse me, just coughing around, so. There we go, then the next man on a flying lap. Of course, it's Ferruki. My controller doesn't want to work, so Creford in the first position so far in this rate qualifying session. Is this really going to be the time where we see Creford go fastest than anybody else in the session? Meanwhile, car number 57 has invalidated their lap. Who's car number 57? We're going to find out within a couple of moments. Is it Reaper who's invalidated the lap? And indeed they have. Car number 57. There were 5 tenths down on Reaper, on Crefeld in the first sector. Yeah, so let's see how good and how interesting is all of that going to be. So far, of course, we're just watching around Ferrucchi going over. Now, I wonder if they're going to be trying to go faster. I don't think so. They're just going around, in fact, they're going 283 kilometers at the end of the first sector. That is personal best for Ferrucchi in the first sector. So maybe they are indeed trying to go faster. We're going to find out all of that very soon. Still a couple of tenths down on their teammate. So definitely that explains that track has improved already. Joel Flat at the moment in the second position so far, of course. 205.059, but the man on board, Crefeld, went fastest in that moment, but can he still be fastest though? Because Joel Flats is going to be the next man over the line, and he's went purple first sector, purple second sector. This could be a lap on the board, which we are about to see. That's going to be fastest of everybody, and Flats over to the line, and Flat goes flat fast. And that is going to be the fastest of the session, 203.477. So definitely now, the more and more fast laps are coming over the line for us to see who we need to, get on information about over to the line. And that is going to be nice overall to see Joel put the fastest lap of the session so far. But for how long, though? Are we going to see anybody beat them? What about Ferrucchi, who's going to be the next man over the line? Has went personal best in all 3 sectors, but still not good enough. 206.919. Remember, Jelly was the fastest driver of the session, 206.726 earlier. And now, Crefeld and Jelly both on the intermediate compound tyre. That's going to be now interesting to go overall and see how well and good all of this is going to be at the end of it so far. All right, then. 6 minutes now remaining in the session. Drivers without a lap time is only one, and that is Gap Reaper. And he's went fastest in the first sector, going purple in the first sector. But remember, track is improving, and that is personal best in the middle sector. 3 tenths down on Joel. So definitely Reaper is going to have to go again and do a job better than they've done so far. But for how long, Ravel? Is that going to be? There's Jelly, who is going to get out of Reaper's way to see if the Canadian driver can go over the line and be the fastest in the session so far. It's their time, it's their moment, but can they achieve it over to the line? Though they cannot, just about 4.7 tenths short. That is still gonna be needed for them to do again. So it was Joel who tried to go faster, who in fact did. Reaper tried to beat that, couldn't really do it. Fastest in the first sector, personal best in the middle sector, and then overall to the lap wasn't enough. And now Jelly is out, and they're out to go fast on that intermediate compound tire, of course, towards the end of this session. So that's going to be nice. That's going to be an interesting information overall to see how well and good is all of this going to be. And there we go, personal best for Joel. In fact, no personal best. That's going to be purple first sector for Jelly over to the line. There you go then, Creford in P3, and with that fastest first sector as well, Jelly is the personal best, so this could get exciting. Those final moments, the final laps, whoever goes over the line fast, whoever goes over the line last, might be the fastest driver in the session, might be the driver who goes quickest. Overall, Creford currently in third place. They're going to make their way towards the end of the first sector. We're going to just find that out. Meanwhile, Reaper is on a lap as well, I believe. And yes, they are not improving at all. Personal best in the middle sector. But will that be enough? I don't think so, because they definitely backed out. Yes, they indeed have backed out. Meanwhile, Jelly is the fastest in the middle sector, and Creford beats that as well. That's going to be Jelly personal best going fastest. So Jelly over the line, might be the fastest driver right now, but Creford could be right behind to beat them over, and that's going to be the Red Bull over the line for the moment to claim pole position. They cannot. They've lost out over 4 tenths in the final sector. This could get exciting. They lost over 4 tenths in the final sector over the line. And it's going to be Mark Creford. Can they achieve a pole position for them to be the first of the season so far in the session? Yes, they can. 2:02.081. And what a lap so far from Creford. Of course, we're only going to find out with Joel, who is currently on a outlap, followed by Jelly, along with the Reaper currently in the pits, so should be coming out very soon as well on the intermediate times. Everybody is now on, and I still think whoever with the track conditions improving, whoever goes over the line better, whoever goes over the line in a condition that's better than the others can win. At least win the qualifying battle here in this session with 2 minutes, just about 2 minutes remaining. But is that going to be enough? And I think qualifying for Gap Reaper might be over, and it actually might indeed be over for Gap Reaper out there. And we're going to find, and in fact, watch all of this over. 1 minute and 30 seconds out there remaining in the session. Whoever makes it over the line in these times should be starting their flying lap. Reaper has managed to begin their flying lap, but can they get over to the line? Remember, an outlap around Spa is almost over 2 minutes anyway, so be it in the rain, this could get even more exciting. As look at that, Reaper is almost trying to do a qualifying lap around over to the line to get themselves over. Meanwhile, Jelly now should be going over with 1 minute remaining for their final lap of the session. Out and around and about there. Meanwhile, Mark Creford has a lap invalidated for car number 29. Significant gain, and Ferrucchi has invalidated. Meanwhile, their lap teammates going fastest in the session so far. Ferrucchi has managed to invalidate their lap, so that's an Alpine sandwich with the 4 cars in between, and these drivers are going to be on the 3 drivers on a proper flying lap at the moment. Joel Flats, purple in the first sector, purple in the middle sector, and Jelly is the fastest in the first sector. What about Creford over the line? And Creford is not improving. So Creford on the intermediate tires is not improving, so it might be time for others to beat over. What about Joel, who's going to be the next car over the line? The man went purple in the first middle sector and in the final as well. And he's going to be the fastest, 2:01.248. And Gap Reaper couldn't start their flying lap. And as expected, they're going to have to start where they qualified. But now, next man to the line is going to be Jelly to see how well will that be. And there we go. We're going to find out. We're in fact about to find out. What about Crawford? He didn't manage to improve in the first sector, but has went purple in the, in the first sector, but purple in the middle sector. This could get exciting. And that purple sector is definitely beating Jelly's first sector, middle sector at least. So this could get exciting. Joel's qualifying is over. Jelly could go over the line to be maybe fastest. Purple in the first sector. Personal best in the middle sector. Over to the line. It is going to be only second fastest for Jelly. Can Crawford go over the line and snatch pole position from Joel? No, they cannot. A 10th and a half. That has left these guys remaining, and that means Joel Flat is going to be your driver on pole position, and take a bow for Joel Flats to the line. They've taken pole position here around Spa, in a rain-soaked Spa, with Crawford giving up a decent fight as well. So they put up a decent lap times, along with Jelly trying to fight it out, followed by Reaper and Ferruki, who were the bottom two drivers in the session. And there we go. These are going to be your qualifying results, ladies and gentlemen, with Joel on pole, followed by Mark Crawford in P2. Maybe his best qualifying of the season so far, and even overall as well, with Jelly in P3, followed by Reaper in P4. Then comes Ferruki in P5. And let's see how well is it going to be. And despite that, Crawford said I'm sliding all around, and it is not raining. It's going to be a dry race in here, and at least for now, though, because we can definitely see rain later on in the Grand Prix. You never know about that. We never know about that. At least for now. And as things stand so far, it is what it is, and apparently that is what we have right now. So we're going to watch out and see overall, well, and how good is all of this going to be, as we're just going to wait for drivers to set up their strategies and their car setups to be perfectly ready for the Grand Prix. And as soon as we get started, we're going to pick it up. So here we go, starting at 05, so that means just a single minute before we get started Or in fact, at least according to my phone, 2 minutes. According to my PC, 1 minute. So we're going to just find out what happens. There we go. Formation lap begins right here to move around and see what we are going to get overall in this race now. 22 laps of racing, 22 laps around Spa. Of course, everybody now starting on the full. In fact, yeah, so on the dry compound tyres, and only later on we're going to get on. So medium compound tyres for everybody, but hard tyres for Gap Reaper. We've seen overall in the first couple of races as well that they, trying to use different strategies, trying to use different types of ways to try and win the race. I think they succeeded in Monza. They succeeded at the last Grand Prix at Silverstone. We're going to find out if they can do that around here at Spa as well. Of course, with that hard compound strategy, a late safety car. I mean, even though I believe 5 laps for just, for just, let's say, 5 laps. I mean, 22 laps for 5 cars is a lot. But definitely, I'm hopeful that these drivers are going to do some great racing. They're going to do some brilliant racing overall as well to move over and get ourselves to get not an idea, but of course, yeah, get ourselves through to towards the race and overall performance as well. And there we go. Definitely excited to see how well is it going to gel out, because apart from Ferrucchi, all 4 drivers looked on pace and on par definitely with each other. So that's going to be exciting to see, to get an overall idea of who's going to be getting what as well on, information and overall as well with the pace they've got while car retired. And that is black flag for Krefeld. Right, definitely might be retiring from the formation lap. What that means is they're not going to have cold tire. They're not going to have warmed up tires. And in fact, we can look at the temperatures, and definitely those temperatures are not pleasing for flats either. Followed by Jelly, they've got decent temperatures. And Ferrucchi maybe, and those cold tires for Reaper as well. And it's going to be 5 red lights, and we go racing here at the Belgium Grand Prix. It's a decent start for Joel. It's a brilliant start for Jelly behind. Yeah, there we go then. Jelly getting a brilliant start as well, jumping all the way from P3 to P2. And Gap Reaper now trying to make their way past Krefeld. And Krefeld has already lost out. Meanwhile, and there's going to be a big incident. Jelly and Joel going side by side at the end of that camel straight into the right-hander. That was never going to work. 2 into 1, and they have lost the car. That promotes Reaper already into P2. That is an interesting, very, very early stop. But that is time to see, and indeed we are seeing already. With all of this to go over 5-10 separate in the two, as I was about to say that Creford, as fast as he was in the warning for track limits for car number 69, that is of course flats. So yeah, as I was saying, Creford, as fast as he was in the wet conditions, he's lost out positions in the dry conditions. But of course, it is very early in the race, only on lap 1, and there's going to be a chance for Reaper to get past flats there. Yeah, they're going to be side by side. A chance, time for him to get past. Maybe can he get past? He can't really do that. And there we go. So there's going to be time, and of course, there is always going to be time as Joel Flats over to the line. Of course, fastest of the session at the moment, but it is only the first couple of laps, so we're only going to get more and more. Of course, these drivers are on the hard compound tires, and we're going to get an idea as well. With that, we can get an idea if Jelly got any penalties. I mean, they did not get any penalties, not penalties, sorry, not any damage, unless they decided to go into the pits. But of course, the tires are way too used, and look at that, 11 and 13% on those rear tires. Meanwhile, Creford is definitely not having his data enabled, I think. So Ferrucchi and Creford, we cannot see both drivers being visible out here, as I'm deciding to get some calls. There we go. Sorry about that. That is sorted in a minute. And there we go. Lap 2 out of 22. It's going to be time. Meanwhile, Reaper has lost out. Then Reaper has lost out to Creford out there. Does anybody get a penalty? Meanwhile, Flat gets another fastest lap, 150.713. And now Jelly gets a fastest lap. That is interesting. Jelly, being on his own in free air, has gotten the fastest lap of the session. And that is brilliant overall, as that's going to be time for all of it to see. While we're going to, Joel has managed to pull away. It's now going to be time. One Haasman versus two Alpine drivers. Reaper has managed to stay ahead of Creford so far, but for how long? Just stays ahead. And look at that. Look at that. Reaper has, yes, so Reaper has definitely quite got yellow fuel. That means they need to do some fuel saving. They decide to start on less fuel as well, so that is interesting. Definitely the man is improving overall. I think last season here and there maybe his pace was, but those mistakes keep coming up, and Creford and Ferrucchi are going to be together almost trying to race each other out there. So yeah, what I was saying, that we don't have the information about Creford and Jelly's tires for some reason. We can see their temperatures, and look at that. Those temperatures are quite high. And we can see. So Creford's fine. Creford's temperatures are actually fine, maybe, or maybe not, because those front and rear left tires are going to be overall. And there is going to be time for Reaper to try and defend from Creford. Can they defend from Creford? Meanwhile, there's going to be Reaper who tries to go defensive on the inside line. Can they do that? As Creford around the outside goes into the chicane. And he gets the move done. They're going to make contact. And there we go. There's time. And for a bit of it, Jelly now and Reaper is going to lose out position. One Alpine gets past Reaper, the other one trying to get past as well. This could get exciting. Joel Flat in a way of his own is there. And remember, Gap Reaper, the only driver who's finished on the podium every single race this season. This could definitely get exciting. And there we go. This is going to be interesting on lap 4 out of 22. There's more laps in this Grand Prix than drivers, but, well, that was always going to be the case anyways. 22 laps, so, yeah. But, I mean, there we go then. The two Alpine drivers could be in a little bit of a fight, but before that, we've got penalties. And that is Ferrucchi, the first driver to be really the man on those penalties as he tries to go around the outside of his teammate. It almost does get past his teammate. They're going to be side by side. The two Alpine driver and Ferrucchi stays ahead of Creford. Creford tries to go on the inside line. They're nearly going to make contact, the two teammates. This could get exciting. Definitely Ferrucchi, maybe not as active or fast as he would have liked in the rainy conditions, but definitely in the dries, he's been a proper competition against his teammate. This could get exciting. Remember Alpine, who only have about 26 points in the Constructors' Championship, with both the drivers present at the time of the race. Could get exciting. Creford just around the outside is going to try and get past his teammate. Does get past his teammate, or does he though? Because Ferrucchi might have a chance to go again at him. Will he be able to? Maybe not. Meanwhile, Reaper has managed to pull away from both the teammates of Alpine, followed by Flat. He was even faster in those wet conditions, but in the dries, he's even more faster. And there we go. Ferrucchi and Creford are going to be side by side. Creford might goes on the inside, or in fact defends his position, but he does not do that, because he doesn't need to, as his teammate just going to stay behind Ferrucchi. Meanwhile, Ferrucchi has been approached, about to be approached by Jelly, so this could get exciting. So both teammates might be about to get accompanied by Jelly out there, so this could get exciting and turn into a three-way fight. But look at those tires. 25, and that's going to be warning for car number 37. Creford, but look at that, Joel Flats. His tires are 29 on the rear left tire, 29%, 27 on the rear right. So definitely, at least as his races, it's more of a rear heavy race, but different in Reaper's case. He's got front right tire. A little bit of a different condition, but of course, hard tires, 10% tire wear difference. Of course, Creford and Ferrucchi's tires are not visible. Jelly's tires are definitely cooked over 20. Not much of a difference though, followed by Joel. Maybe first Joel in free air, and Jelly just arriving with the drivers. That could get a little bit interesting to, of course, see what they're going to be getting. Meanwhile, there's going to be one more time for Ferrucchi to get past Creford. Creford's going to have to defend, but can they defend? Maybe not. They might not need to be, as Ferrucchi goes for it on the inside line. Runs quite wide and allows Creford to stay ahead. And there we go. Yes, there's going to be time now for drivers, and Jelly has gone past Ferrucchi there. We saw going up through Rouge and Ready on there was a almost contact. There's going to be, and Creford nearly goes into the wall and then takes out Jelly almost. This could have been the moment of the race. Creford makes a mistake on the exit of the downhill section. Goes wide while rejoining the track, almost took out Jelly. This could have been the moment in the race, but definitely has to be very lucky, both the drivers.